All right, so gentlemen, we were just talking off air, and to your point, Dominic, this comes up every single year. And so before we jump in, happy Thanksgiving to the three of you.
Yeah, right back at you.
Yeah.
Happy
Hey,
Thanksgiving.
you as well.
Appreciate that. And so the thing that comes up every Thanksgiving is the objections that real estate agents are hearing from homeowners. You know, I want to wait until after the holidays. I want to wait until after the new year. I want to wait for the market to do this, that, or the other thing. It's just a waiting objection. And so today's episode, I thought we'd talk through the details of that and give the audience some practical things that they can do that will help them continue to move their business forward. Because I think the question that we get all too often is, hey, should I just hang up my business for the next couple of months? It's like, no, you got to still work. So let's first, we're going to talk about stats in just a second. I'm going to show the audience my screen. So let's stay away from that, but let's talk about maybe the benefits, Dominic, on from a home seller's perspective, why it might be better for them to list and sell their homes during the holiday than it would be in the summer. So let's unpack that, and then we'll look through the lens of the buyer second.
Yeah, you want me to go?
Yeah, jump in there and give me your thoughts or opinions on why you think, from a seller's point of view, that it might behoove them to go ahead and get their house on the market during the holidays.
Yeah. So, I can just tell you when I'm sitting down with a seller, anytime between now and Christmas, I tell them the same thing. Listen, because it's the holidays, anybody that's out and about looking for a home right now, slogging through the cold and the slush and rain, don't you think that they actually want to buy a house? They're not out looking to see how your staging looks or how well your garden is prepared, right? They want to buy a house. So we're eliminating the looky-loos and we're concentrating on buyers that actually want to buy. And Mr. Seller, does it also make sense that other sellers in the market who might be just, for example, testing the market might not be so inclined to do so when the weather's not as nice and they're doing holiday things? That's pretty much how I preface my winter listing presentation conversation.
Spot on. So I want to unpack that. That was so spot on. I totally agree. And so from the seller's point of view, the first thing that you just said was, okay, yes, is it true that the number of showings is down? Yeah. However, the buyers, Ron, that do look at homes in the winter, wouldn't it be reasonable that those buyers are the most interested, the most motivated, the most qualified? And so the argument and what we see as fact is that those buyers aren't just, looking at each other on a Sunday afternoon and saying, honey, let's go look at some houses like they do in the summer. I mean, it's become America's pastime. I can't tell you in the beginning of my career how many friends and family members would just text me on a Saturday, hey, can we go look at some houses? I'm like, oh, you guys are looking to buy? No. We don't want to buy. We're just bored, and we were looking at Zillow and thought we'd just go look at some homes. I mean, all those buyers come out of the marketplace. And so point number one is the buyers that are in the market during the holiday season are the most motivated buyers. So Colton, now point number two, however, let's talk about competition. So typically we see inventory lower during the holiday season because, like most, they say, well, I'm going to wait until next year. I'm going to wait till spring. So the sellers that are on the market might have less homes to compete with. Colton, would you agree with that?
100%. And two, going back to one of the main things we try to do as an agent is not only for ourselves when we're with a client positioning ourselves as the obvious choice, but then it's even easier to position their home as the obvious choice when there's less homes to compare to.
Yeah. And so it's simply a supply and demand issue. Yep. Because, if the seller says, well, Brandon, isn't there, is anybody buying houses right now? Well, the answer to that is yes. Let me share my screen and show you guys. This is crazy. This is what I want to show all of our agents, by the way, if this comes up again. But certainly here on YouTube, you guys see this firsthand. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let me blow this up. This is crazy. So you can really, how's that? Now you can probably really see this nicely. Yep. All right. So this is a great report on Redfin's website. And I want you guys to look at something, all right? So I'm going to go back to April 2012. So what happens every year is, if you can see my screen, you've got the month of September, then you get into October, November goes down, and then December goes back up. Now you go to the next year. September, October, November down, then you go to the next month, November or December. Look at transactions. They go up. Same thing. Let's go to 2014. So November, home sales, 380,000 home sales. Look at December. Boom, 450,000 home sales. Almost as much as June or July. We can do this all the way every single year. October, November, sales goes down. Up, there's December. Boom, 500,000 home sales. Every single year, this is the trend on what happens every year. So what I always tell people is, I say, listen, December's one of the best, most busy months of the year. Why? Because people are looking to get these transactions closed before year end. And it's not an opinion. I just show the stats. Listen, December's probably the second or third busiest month of the year. Ron, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Hey, the numbers don't lie. There it
That's
is. There it is. The numbers don't lie. So there's no reason to get out there and get your house listed.
Yeah.
Not
and
to.
That's exactly right. And so the points that we talk about at a presentation is, hey, listen, more serious buyers, less homes to compete with. And so now, with those two things said, let's get into some skills on what these agents can say. And it's a very, very simple question. The question, Dominic, that I love to go to anytime a seller says, well, listen, I'm going to wait for whatever the reason. Doesn't matter what the answer is. For interest rates, for this, that, or the other thing. Well, we are in a very, very unique situation right now with home prices going down, right? Especially in Boise. I mean, you're paying the price, Dom. You're paying the price, my friend. So because home prices are going down for the first time in a long time, people aren't used to that, because homeowners are like, well, home prices just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. We have the greatest psychological, one of the greatest psychological findings ever to our advantage. And what is that, you guys ask? Loss aversion. Yeah. What we know about the human race, right, Colton, is that human beings are much more motivated by the fear of loss than they are at the opportunity of gain. We know that. That's why we see people that have W-2 jobs work so hard, because they don't want to what? They don't want to lose the job. Then they get into real estate. They work for themselves with unlimited income potential, and they don't ever come to work. So they have, they make $50,000 for Bob, and they're slaving for Bob with that $50,000 paycheck. I got to get that check every Friday. It's like the hamster on the hamster wheel. Then they come work for themselves. I want to make $300,000 a year, and then they never prospect, because loss aversion is a lot more motivating. So what is the point? With this conversation, all we have to do when we're talking with the seller is simply say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, if there was an advantage, Ron, to you selling your house right now versus waiting in the future, meaning you would get $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 more in your pocket by selling now than waiting in the spring, is that something you'd at least be open to a conversation? And that is all we have to ask, because it is the truth. Especially in Boise, Idaho. Every single month, people wait. How much are they losing? How fast are your home prices going down right now, Dom?
Yeah, we're going down a percent and a half a month. So, yeah. I mean, who knows what the trend is going to be, but if we keep going like that into the spring, it's definitely more beneficial for a seller to make a move right now.
So let's put some context to that. All right. So what's the average sales price in Boise? I just want to give the audience some context.
$540,000.
All right. So check this out. So $540,000. So every single month, homeowners are losing $6,000, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Every month they don't sell, they lose $6,000, $6,000,
exactly.
$6,000,
Exactly.
$6,000. So it's real simple. Well, I want to wait till March. Okay, cool. So that's 4 months. So if Mr. Seller, if you knew right now that if you could sell your house and put $30,000 to $40,000 more in your pocket than waiting until March, is that something that you'd be at least open to meeting and having a conversation about? That's the question.
That'd be pretty easy to agree to. That's for sure.
right? And what we're not doing is we're not asking the person to list their house with that question. We're saying, are you open to a conversation? And I don't know about you guys, but money motivates people, like if all we have to explain right now, Colton, and I don't know if you're having these conversations with anybody right now or not, but this is real. This is when like in the last time, like 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, just to Dominic's point, every time a seller would wait, it would just mean they would lose a lot of money. So it's so simple to get in front of a seller to talk about that. And so when we're talking with agents, I don't know, Colton, if you're having that conversation or not, but that's the leverage point that we have to set listing appointments.
I literally just had this conversation last night. I was onboarding a new student, and one of the questions she asked me is, Brandon talks about all the time, knowing your numbers, knowing your market. And this is a great point of just keeping your finger on the pulse of not only where it's at, but looking at the trends so we can talk about where it's going, so we can educate our clients so they can make the right decision. Like you said, we're not going to make somebody move. We're not going to make them list their home, but if at least they have the information, we can put them in a position to make the best decision, to put the most money in their pocket possible. That's all we can do. We can't predict the market. We can only make the decisions now that we have the data with.
That's right. I mean, if we call ourselves a fiduciary and we're looking out for someone's best interest, don't we owe them, Ron, to tell them, listen, this is the facts. I mean, if we have a conversation in March or in April, don't get mad at me. If I come back and say your house is now worth $45,000 less, don't get mad. Don't say I didn't say anything. It's that type of thing.
Yep.
Well, it's pretty simple too, really.
Yeah.
Just lay out the numbers.
Yep.
And say, hey, look, here's what we're looking at right now. These are your choices. You can do this now or you can wait.
Yeah.
And again, getting back to what our golden line is, you can determine if it makes sense to move forward or not.
Exactly. It's real simple. Yep. You nailed it. And I think the only thing that I would challenge the real estate community on is what Ron just said. He just said, well, it's real simple. You just have to know the numbers. But what we know is realtors don't know the numbers.
Right.
So that's a key takeaways. It's like you got to study the market, and there's free websites out there, realtor.com doing a weekly housing market update. I love theirs. I love Redfin's. I subscribe to a bunch of them. You can use your local MLS, but you got to study the numbers because you can't communicate with any type of compelling conviction to a seller if you don't know anything about the market. Dominic's got the best line ever. We sell confidence. That's what we sell at a listing appointment. That's why people sign the contract. How much confidence are you giving? It's not are they confident or are they not? It's how confident is the seller in your ability to get their property sold to navigate the market. So, Any last thoughts on this topic specifically?
Just keep on calling. Now's the time. It is the time to get on the phones and prospect when everybody else is going to Christmas parties.
That was the one thing we almost missed. Thank you, Ron. It's like we talk about buyers and sellers. You just hit it. Supply and demand for realtors is very real too. All your competitors got their feet up, sipping Mai Tais or whatever, hot toddies rather, depending on where you live, I guess. And you could pick up a lot of market share. I mean, we have January 1st, which is expired listing holiday of the year, where there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of opportunities. And it's true. Your competition is going to holiday parties, and you could pick up a lot of market share.
Yeah, almost every year. Yeah, almost every year we pick up a couple of listings between now and December 1st, and they sell. They sell by New Year's. To your point earlier, people want to get this done by New Year's, so they're hustling. They're fixing inspection contingency items. They're not stretching out negotiations. They're getting it done. But you got to sift through all the discretionary sellers to find people that actually have a reason to transact. That's the reason to make your calls right now.
Exactly. And the people that do take you up on that are the most motivated, the seller or the buyer. So it's like, man, if I prospect and get one now, it's a lot different getting a listing right now than it is in June. Well, go ahead and put it on the market, Bob. Let's see what you get. Those are all gone right now.
Right.
So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Have a good one.
Later.
Thanks, guys. See ya.